Good morning. My name is Robert Stevens, and I am here today to talk about the emotion of surprise. So, when you read that, over 80% of you read, "Great minds think alike." And then a part of your brain went, "That's not what I read." And you read it again. And you read it again, maybe, slowly. And then you got The Economist. And then you put together the concept of great minds like a think and The Economist. And your brain delivered you a little piece of dopamine because you'd learned something new. And it felt really good, didn't it? Did you get that feeling? Feel it? That's the emotion of surprise. The reason that I know this is because I spend a lot of time eye-tracking people. And so when you eye-track people, this is the eye-tracking path of one person. The blue circles are where somebody typically stops to pay attention. What we can see here is this rereading behavior as somebody goes, as somebody goes, like a think, The Economist. So the reason that this happens is that if you speak English as your first language, you make a prediction that when you read great minds think alike, because you've been learning that for years. Because we're always making predictions about our future. We're always making predictions about things that we're going to do. So I can confidently throw this, and my audience is asleep. Sorry, John, that was a bad throw, wasn't it? So what we have here with eye tracking is a neuro market research tool where we can delve inside people's minds. We don't need to put them inside fMRI scanners, which are scary and expensive anyway. In fact, who's used eye tracking here? A couple of people. Okay. So for those, I made a prediction that many people in the audience wouldn't have used eye tracking. So for those of you that haven't used eye tracking, what we've got here is one of our eye trackers. So as you can see, it just looks like a computer screen. This is actually the eye tracking unit down here. So not at all scary and non-invasive. I'm going to go and stand behind the lectern because it's not working for me. There we go. So there's something about that great minds think alike, like a think, creative, 7 words, white out on red. I first really got exposed to it some 8 years ago when I was working with JC Decode, and something intrigued me about this. How can 7 words, white out on red, provide an emotional response to people? How can something that simple trigger this emotional response, this learning? And that journey has taken me years to find out the answer to that. And the answer is that inside our minds, inside all our brains, we have a memory-based future prediction machine. Now, I know that doesn't make sense, because if it's memory-based, it's in the past. And if it's a future prediction machine, it's about the future. So how do you reconcile memory with future? Well, let's take that journey together, as I'd love to share that with you. The journey actually starts an incredibly long time ago, an unimaginable length of time ago. It actually starts 2 billion years ago. After life had been on Earth around 1 billion years, it had become organized. We've got organelles, we've got DNA, we've got flagella. A flagella is the ability to move within a pond environment. And something incredible happened. This bacteria in particular developed a sensing array around its outside that's attuned towards food nutrients in a pond. And it's got the ability, if it senses food here, more than here, its DNA tells its flagella to swim over here. And lo and behold, it gets more food. It generates more offspring. It becomes more successful. This is indeed the essence of successful living. It's that basic, and it's 2 billion years old. What we've got here is the first example of simple but intelligent life. And so life moves on. We get multicellular organisms. This dinosaur, living dinosaur, literally, that has an old brain, Alligators are incredible. They can do very complex things. They can mate, they can hunt stealthily, they can store food for later, but they can't learn things within their own lifetime. If you want to learn things within your own lifetime, an old dinosaur brain will not do. You need a neocortex. This is why behavioral psychologists love putting mammals in mazes. Because if you put an alligator in a maze, it'll find the food, and it'll find the food consistently day after day, but every time it finds the food, it'll be surprised. Whereas if you have a mammal, if you put the food in the same place, on the 7th day you take it away, the mammal will go, well, where's my food? I was expecting my food. Because it's making a prediction, the ability to learn within your own lifetime, using a neocortex. Evolution goes on. We get more complex mammals, higher mammals, bigger neocortex, the ability to make better predictions. And indeed, humans, we make the best predictions of all. And well, let's just test that. 2, 4, 16. And now you're probably thinking, what's the square root of 16? The answer is 256. That's how we test IQ, isn't it? Let's try another one. Orange is to blue as red is to, come on you designers. I think it's violet. But I'm not a designer. So this is how we test IQ. It's about making predictions. So that's one of the first ideas that I want to convey to you today, is that we have inside our heads a memory-based future prediction machine. How does that work? Well, we all have a brain, and that stores memories. We can agree on that, can't we? Yep. Memories allow you to predict the future by firing memories. Let's take another journey together of how that happens. Because we can all remember how to catch a ball, can't we? Well, the reality is you can't remember how to catch a ball. But we all learnt how to catch a ball. Some of us better than others. So what happened was, many years ago, your parents, your guardians, started by throwing you balls that were easy to catch. And you started to build mental models of how the world works, of gravity, of aerodynamics of balls. Some people go on to become professional ball catchers. It's incredible. This guy is doing enormous amounts of predictions in his subconscious mind. He's coping with the deceleration of that ball due to airflow, by the tug of the earth, the gravity on the descent of that ball. He's got 1 foot on the ground. He's not put his knee down because he knows somewhere in his subconscious brain that if he puts that knee down, he won't make that slide to intercept with that ball. This is an incredible amount of maths that's happening inside his brain. Clever people that wear red jumpers and write on blackboards cannot do differential calculus, anything like the speed that you need to be able to catch a ball. Indeed, one of the most complex robots in the history of mankind. It has a 3-dimensional processor, the sort of thing that this poor MacBook Pro would weep in comparison, if it could, about the amount of processing that thing can do. It's a truly awesome piece of technology. I can't even walk up the stairs. The pinnacle of mankind. Awesome, isn't it? But what about us? We get to work every day, don't we? We don't even think about it. I mean, look at this poor girl. She looks so bored, it's incredible, isn't she? Because we live in the subconscious, we're always using our subconscious minds. We're always using our subconscious to make predictions about how to get to work. I mean, I'm sure you travel to work and sometimes you think, how did I get here? So let's look at another example, a bit of audience participation here. Could you find for me the letter P? Raise your hands when you find it. Cool, there's some quick people here. Okay, right, and again. There we go, that was quicker, wasn't it? Okay. That's because, well, you know why it is now, don't you? It's because you have a mental model of the alphabet inside your head that you've been learning since you were maybe 2 years of age. And so the fact that you've never seen this horrid font before isn't really a problem for you, because you can very quickly go, okay, this is an alphabet, it'll be somewhere around the middle, there's the P. And when we can't use our mental models, we'll have a different eye-tracking signature. So you just put your hand up, you just find a P. Is that? It's on one of the purple spot. Incidentally, that purple spot's really important because that large purple spot, that's one of my eye trackers telling me that somebody spent a length of time looking at that. That denotes time, over half a second, looking at it, trying to resolve, is that P? Yes, it is. So typically, it will take somebody around 12 seconds to spot the P there, and I think almost everybody here got it way under that. So this is important that we live our lives in the subconscious, because we want to communicate people. We want to communicate brand values, brand equities. We want to get people's attention. Because when something happens that breaks our prediction, part of your brain goes, I wasn't expecting that. This is the opportunity to learn something new. And we love learning something new. That happened with The Economist. When you learn something new, you get that little dopamine release and it feels really good. So when something happens that we didn't predict, we get this ability to learn something new. Now, who predicted that they were going to see a spoon at the end of this arm? Nobody. Because arms do not end in spoons. They end in implements to pick things up. So when I track people, I find that over 84% of people spend a long time looking at this spoon. This is your subconscious mind going, I wasn't expecting that, spoon. And another part of your mind goes, yeah, spoon. And then something incredible happens with this creative, because the arm basically points to the brand. We've kicked off an innate learning opportunity here, and then engagement with the brand. Isn't that a fantastic idea? The possibility that we can trick people's minds into learning stuff subconsciously. How Darren Brown is that? Okay. So we've learned that surprise can be really useful. Surprise can be very useful in some situations. So let's look at what happens when we get surprise online.
This looks like hard work. To save time, it is important you read the following information before you start your application. You use the navigation button at the back of the camera. Maybe use the browser button, internet toolbar. If you use the browser buttons, which are part of your toolbar, this may cause errors. So I can't use these buttons. If you need to go back a page, please, at the bottom. Right. So if I want to go back, instead of being able to do my normal ones at the top, because they might use errors, I've got to go down to there. And it says cancel or go, but it doesn't say go back. Okay, I really don't understand this, because if I go down to the bottom there, it says I either cancel or go where? Hey? That's terrible. Where am I supposed to go? Is that back, do you suppose? What's that do? Hey? Well, you give me no choice but to use this one, but you told me not to use it. Well, that's nuts. Okay. Well, I have to say, you've tricked me with asterisks, and now you've told me to do something I can't do, so I'm not feeling particularly well disposed towards Kahoot. Have a valid personal email address, alright. Have 128-bit encryption. Check your browser. You can stick it. You can absolutely stick that. Right, you are trying so hard to make me go away, and I'm going.
Brilliant. Awesome. So surprise online can be a very bad thing, because what happened then is that we did not, or when I say we, Kahoot at that time was not furnishing that guy with mental models that he can use. It was so far out of his experience that he was having a really hard time understanding it. So what we do at Bunnyfoot is we love building models. We love getting inside people's minds. That's why we use eye tracking. We love getting inside their minds, understanding what's going on with them. We've got this model that we use. It's called the user-centered design approach, where we study things. We ask people questions. We go into organizations. We go into people's houses. We'll get them to do diaries. And we'll gather together all this information to help us understand what are people's mental models of the world? What are companies' mental models of the world? How do we bring these together? We bring these together in an innumerable almost number of ways. We bring together mental and concept models, personas of people. These are just really rich descriptions of our customers, of our primary users. In fact, we've got so many different ways of doing it. We've got this horrid looking slide with lots of information on it, but these are just some of the techniques that we use in order to understand what are these mental models. And then we design these mental models into wireframes, into HTML prototypes. But the whole point, the detail of this isn't important. The point of doing this is that by understanding people's mental models of the world and then feeding them back to them within this rigorous, proven process, that's how we ensure that we deliver ROI for our clients. So this was a great case study from Virgin Holidays. We did just one thing from that slide, and we got a 90% increase in conversion. Then we went on to do several elements of that slide after we got that buy-in, and we got an additional 130% increase in conversion. So 220% increase in conversion. Just to put that in perspective, that was over £500,000 per day turnover increase. I don't care who you are, 500 Gs a day is a lot of money. There's innumerate, we've been doing this 11 years now, so there's innumerate different case studies. In fact, one of the things that I'm most proud of, I was reflecting upon before this talk, was that we are now in our 10th year at Microsoft, which is basically unheard of for an agency, because normally somebody's screwed up by the time you've been there that long. But we haven't, and I think that's a real testament to how good, the good work that we do. So, in bringing this together, the conclusion, what I'd really like you to take away from this is that if we want to get people's attention, sometimes surprising them is a great thing to do. Surprise and entertain me. And certainly Jeff, who's just walking out the door, is going to give you some great ideas on how to surprise and entertain people in his talk. But don't break the 3-second rule. What's this an advert for? Sorry?
It says erectile dysfunction.
Cool, blimey, you've got good eyesight.
How do you know that?
So one gentleman got this, and the rest of the people in the audience, it broke the 3-second rule because she didn't get it. It's for a Viagra type product. And so it plays with our mental model because men with grey hair don't have scratch marks down their back from vigorous sex. So it's quite an amusing concept. But it failed to deliver because it broke the 3-second rule. It wasn't easy enough to get, but it was a very good idea, very amusing idea. Online, the 3-second rule is at best the 2-second rule. This is a banner ad for Virgin with 3 panels. 3 panels is at least 1 panel too many, and possibly 2 panels too many. And then once we've actually got people to the website, once we've actually got them engaged enough in the brand that they want to purchase, then we don't want them to think. We don't want to surprise them. We want to furnish them with the mental models that they are used to, so that they can enjoy that cognitive friction-free process of buying whatever it is that you sell, whether that's online or indeed offline. Because what I do for a living has been 2 billion years in the making. And all I get to do is to tell you about that and implement it using the models and the research tools that we've developed over the last decade and a bit. 2 billion years of evolution cannot be wrong. And with that thought, final thought actually. This is a very quick introduction to it. I'm actually writing a book on this, and depending on how it goes with the publisher, it'll either be out in December or Q1 of 2011. And if you would like a copy, please email me, and it would be my pleasure to post you a copy. So the book's going to be called Great Minds Like I Think, The Emotion of Surprise. My name is Rob Stevens, and it's been my pleasure. Thank you very much indeed.